Voila! We are tapping into the universal energy. And universal energy has to make things clear. Now, the universal energy first has to make you aware that you are self. Um, Remember that sometimes we see the conscious beat of ourself, meaning that self, one, conscious beat. Then we see the awareness, sovereign beat of ourself, which is in a formless state, as the second one, the second beat. Then we see the supreme consciousness beat of ourself as the third self, right? So in order to navigate the universal energy, that means that beat has to be compressed or merged into one, where you become fully self. Now, let's talk about why that happens. Now, remember that with conscious bit of ourselves, where I will use manifestation, where we are thinking about the things that we want to manifest, we want and stuff like that, we start creating lists of the things. Oh my gosh, I want this, I want that, I want that, I want that, I want that. You are manifesting it, you are loudly saying it, I want this. You are thinking about it, that you have to send the message directly to the supreme conscious bit of yourself, the creative bit of yourself, so that the manifestation that you are saying them out loud, they are created by the supreme bit of yourself. But then there is the formless bit of yourself, where everything has to be compressed. Remember that you are saying out loud. Now you're going into the supreme consciousness bit of yourself to say the message to be received there by the supreme consciousness bit of yourself. The middleman, which is the awareness, sovereign, formless bit of yourself, has to compress things through that channel, or through that dynamic wormhole, or through the dynamic gateway, or through the dynamic pathway, right? Where it is translated. Remember that in order for the things that we want to be received by the supreme consciousness bit of ourselves, identity has to dissolve. Identity has to dissolve. So that filtering, where form, which is from the consciousness bit of ourselves and our thinking, what we want, when it is going into the supreme conscious bit of ourselves, that formless state, that gateway, the dynamic wormhole, the dynamic compression bit, which is where things are being filtered, because like the doubts, you start bringing out stories like that might make what you want, like because of I'm like this, maybe this, the reason why I want this is because all those kind of things that bring out identity bit of yourself, the form where you can say, oh, I'm like this, maybe because of my work I might not get this, but supreme consciousness, can you actually do it, create it? That bit has to be compressed. That thinking, that thing that you think everything is with logic, has to be dissolved. The identity bit of you dissolves. So you go into the formless bit of yourself, where everything is now clear. There is nothing residue from the form bit of yourself. The conscious bit of yourself is now compressing, translating into the supreme consciousness, where everything is become clear. So it's created. Your manifestations are created, right? So now remember that I was talking about the self, which is the conscious, the thinking about what you want to say to your supreme conscious bit of yourself, right? So the three layers, that means you are thinking about the things that you want. You don't necessarily know if you're really able to get them, because obviously of the things that you're already thinking, or the things that you're doubting, or whatever that you think you are, the identity, the logic bit of yourself. So you are now translating it into the supreme consciousness, where it is created. And then as well, it has to go through, like what I'm saying, that what we're talking about, dynamic wormhole, where you cannot see it. The whole thing is internal. This is just the gateway, the pathway. We're just talking about when something is translated into the way that it can be understood on the other side and transferred to the other side, right? Because this is a two-way. The other one is going that way. the other one is going that way. What you're manifesting, what you're saying you're manifesting goes that way to be received by Supreme Consciousness bit. What the Supreme Consciousness bit of yourself is creating and bringing it to you has to be going through the compression bit, which is through the formless bit of yourself, where you are in a sovereign awareness bit, where it comes out in a form that can be understood by you physically. Like anything from internally has to be taken out into external. Now, the compression bit of yourself, where everything has to be into a formless, where it goes through the dynamic state, where it's like things are being played in a way that everything connect together, right? It is a teamwork. The consciousness bit of yourself, that formless bit of yourself, that supreme bit of yourself is a teamwork. They're all working together to bring something to you. Something from internally to bring it to you externally. Right? That bit. Now, I just wanted to understand that, because so we can move from that, because that bit was distracting us. We were thinking that we have got something different from us. We are thinking that the conscious bit of ourselves, I'm going to use a human being. We were thinking that our legs are separate from our physical head, and the physical head is separate from the middle bit of ourselves. Imagine how that is. How is that even possible? Can you actually imagine that without actually going crazy? Now, that was happening internally with us. We were thinking our internal structure is made out of the body, the body as in the legs that are walking us, the head that we are thinking about things, the middle bit where it's got the heart pumping out everything and as in making things work properly. We're thinking that they are internally separated. We are talking about the internal structure. We're thinking, oh my gosh, my legs might not be able to walk because I still have to ask my head if my head is okay. In order for me to ask my head if my head is okay, I have to try to work around talking to the heart. How is that possible? That's what we're doing internally. Now, that bit has to be working in alignment. There should not be the legs separated from the body, from the middle bit separated from the head. The whole thing has to be all in together. We're supposed to be, as you're seeing me like this physically, internally you're supposed to see yourself like this internally. Meaning that everything is working together in alignment at the same time. There is no bridge where you're thinking things are supposed to be, I'm supposed to be learning how to mingle, to try to be formless. I have to try and work on how to be like this in order to reach my supreme consciousness bit of myself so I can create things that I want. That bit is taken out. Because it is things that brings out boundaries. Boundaries, you're thinking there are bridges that are there internally that we cannot see. So that bit has to be open. It's good to understand what they are. Like how these things works and how this thing works. In order to return back to yourself, you have to understand that this is what has been happening to me. I have been thinking that my consciousness bit of myself is separate from the sovereign awareness bit of my formless self, and is separated from the supreme consciousness bit of myself. Why was that happening? Because that was happening and it was stopping me from going out into the field, the universe. My awareness was small, because obviously if you're thinking the conscious is different, seriously, this is, you're begging now, you're begging even your supreme consciousness bit of yourself to create something. You don't even want to say it out loud what it is that you really want, because you don't know, you think you're disconnected from the supreme consciousness bit of your creative self, so you don't know whether you can create it. So you're still asking, I actually think I want, or I might not actually even want it. I might actually think I want. You're talking to yourself, you don't actually even say it out loud, because you are like, will I be able to get it? Because you think you're disconnected from the supreme conscious bit of yourself, the creative force of yourself. So obviously if you don't think you're connected to it, how you're going to be thinking like you're in a small room where you're thinking, you're making a list, you're looking at your surrounding, you think, this list, the things that I want, I think I can only get them because of this room is too small. Your awareness bit of yourself is small, isn't it? Consciousness bit of yourself, separated from the supreme consciousness bit of yourself. When you open that bit, you go into the compression bit, the formless bit, into the supreme consciousness bit, creative bit, the room expands. You realize that, oh my gosh, I have been a creative self. I can actually do everything that I want in here. The room expanded. It's really, really you. Because your awareness as well as expanded, you realize that if this is me and I'm the creator, I can create anything that I want in here the way that I want it. And I can bring it down into my conscious bit of myself. I don't have to worry whether I'll be able to carry all these things that I want. I'll be able to compress them into the formless bit of myself, to bring them into my conscious bit of myself, where it's externally expressed or externally seen. It's manifested. So you don't have to worry about that. But remember that you were the conscious bit of yourself where you were still like, should I do this? Should I even ask? You're in a small room. Enclosure. You're like that. The zoo within your head. Conscious bit of yourself. Then the zoo, you realize that there should not be any zoo. I should be mingling around. You're realizing that it is actually like, this is just open space, right? The room becomes expanded. In awareness, you realize that, oh my gosh, I can walk around, I can even fly, I can actually even do this and that. That is you in your supreme consciousness bit of yourself. Now remember that that is where you are. But then the room opens. Then you realize that, oh my gosh, I actually should not even be seeing any borders around here. I should not be seeing any internal borders around here. I should be universal. Then you are in the field. Imagine, if you are universal, what does it mean to you? Now just think about the universe. You become whatever that you want to become in that universe. You are, let's just use something that I know very well because I am a farmer, small nyana farm. You become a potato if you want to enter into that energy of the potato. You become it. You come out without residue. You don't come out as a potato, because that's when you bring identity to it. You start wanting to tell people that you're a potato. No. You go into a potato energy. You become potato. While you are in the potato energy, you come out. You become yourself. Then you can go and enter a tomato energy. You don't go in and enter tomato energy, potato energy with potato residues. You enter tomato energy with just being you, in your pure self, entering that tomato, becoming tomato, and getting the knowledge from tomato. How does it even work? How does it even taste? How does it even function? How does it even feel? That is you entering a planetary system that you want to be in at the time that allows you to be in that. And then when you come out of it, you don't become like, you want to say, because of I was a tomato, I want to hold on to that. You are like, now you don't want everyone to be tomatoes. You are like, I can't actually enjoy it being here. No, because you are in the field. In the field, you experience every animal, any animal or any fruit or any vegetable or any human being or anything that has energy. You can enter and come out without actually taking anything out of it, where you start defending it. You see me coming here and I start saying, after I've entered the energy of an Indian, and I come here, I come out and start saying I'm Indian. That means I want to start defending the thing. I'm becoming too ident. I come out with an identity now. You see me even trying to defend what I'm saying I am. That's supposed to be dissolved a long time ago. Because in the universe, that bit is not supposed to be there. You become the energy that you enter, and you come out of it with no residues. You don't come out with like I still have that thing held back by it. You become universal. You enjoy being universal. You enjoy the universal energy. You can actually even see those water spirits that you used to mingle with. For some of us who used to mingle with them. Because this is the field that everyone goes in there to shop. Even you are self-shopping. You are not sending anyone, the middleman, to shop for you. You are in the field shopping for yourself. You can't come out and say, my ancestors, they said I cannot get a boyfriend. My ancestors, they said I cannot get married. My ancestors, they said I cannot do anything. I cannot get a house. You are using the middleman to complain. Now, when you go into the universe, obviously that thing stripped off all those things. You are going in there as your fully self-functional self. You're going into the universe to get it for you, for yourself. You're going in there to get it out. And if it's not taken out of that field, you will come out and that energy hasn't created anything, any shift within you, or any shift that we can literally see outside when you're literally saying something that anyone can understand, everyone can understand, because you become the shower. You show what that universe was doing. You don't have to say it out loud. We understand you, because that is what the universe does. The universe does. You become. You show. You don't say. People understand, because anyone who doesn't speak can understand you. Anyone who doesn't utter words can understand you. Everyone can be understood in the way that they need to be understood. That is universal. Right? We start understanding each other. There are no boundaries. There's nothing else that we can say is distorting the way that we think about things. We are full. The three bodies of ourselves are functioning as one. We internally and externally seeing ourselves as this body is fully functioning as one. You don't see yourself as my consciousness bit of myself. The subconsciousness bit of myself. This formless bit of myself. I was in the sovereign state. Me being dynamic, you know. Huh? Supreme consciousness bit of yourself, sovereign awareness bit of yourself, that is the formless bit of you that compresses everything. Everything is working together. When we are in the field, you go into any energy, you tap into it, you can be whatever you want, you can create whatever that you want to create using the universal energy, universal everything. That is you being out there. Anyway, watch this with the video that I talked about, the source. What is the source? So you can understand that when you're out there in the field, in the universal energy, tapping into it, you understand that when you're tapping it with other thinking of other things that are not seen or cannot be understood or cannot be seen, in the universal energy bit, that thing, I doubt you'll even manage to get through the universal gate. But anyone can get into it if you don't have anything that is holding you back. Right? Anyone. This one, you don't have to go through the stages. Anyone can go into universal energy as long as they are aware that they are going into the universal energy as one themselves, the true self, not the three bodies of self. The one self operating as in the one is connecting all the three self merge into one. Right? Then you can go into the universal energy. That is just the beauty of the universal energy. Love it.